President Ramaphosa is signing the Bela bill into law tomorrow, and it's got a ton of political parties and a ton of people involved in schools very upset. But there's also been a ton of misinformation and misunderstanding spread around about the bill. So strap in, because this is the truth about the Basic Education Law Amendments Act. A massive problem up until now in South Africa has been that school governing bodies have enormous control over admissions policies and language policies at schools. And they've used that to perpetuate exclusive policies at schools and thereby deny many kids their basic right to education. And so the Bela bill gives the Department of Basic Education much more power to make sure that school governing bodies are creating inclusive language and admissions policies, which they are mandated to do anyway. The Bela bill also expands the definition of corporal punishment, because we know that there are many disciplinary behaviors that teachers use besides physical violence that damage kids. So corporal punishment is now going to include any acts which seek to belittle, humiliate, threaten, induce fear, or ridicule the dignity and person of a learner. Then the Bela bill ensures that all learners have access to schooling, whether they are documented or undocumented, because our Constitution is very clear that the right to basic education extends to all human beings, whether they are documented or not. And then the Bela bill says that compulsory schooling starts from grade R now, to make sure that kids are getting the teaching that they need from a very young age, and that the right to basic education extends to grade 12, which allows us to make sure or force the government to provide for education opportunities for learners all the way until matric. And then the Bela bill also is increasing the penalties on parents who don't ensure that their kids are going to school, which I don't think is great, because I don't think threatening parents with jail time is going to be an effective way of making sure that they get their kids to attend school. I actually think it'll be counterproductive. There are some criticisms of the Bela bill. The first one is that this basically amounts to school capture, because it gives the Department of Basic Education too much power over our schools. But I would respond to that by saying, well, currently, the SGBs of schools have pretty much perpetuated inequality and exclusionary practices in schools. So if they can't be relied upon to do the work that they're supposed to do, that is the moment that the government steps in and makes sure that our Constitution is being followed. And then some steps in and make sure that our Constitution is being followed. And then some people are saying, if you give the Department of Education the power over language policies, that's basically going to lead to some languages being cancelled and driven out of schools as languages of instruction. In particular, some people are saying, oh, this is going to be the end of Afrikaans schools, which it's just not, because the Bela bill gives the Department of Basic Education the power to make a school add a language of instruction if it deems that there are kids in and around the school's catchment area that need to be catered for, who can't learn in the languages of instruction that already exist in a school. So if there's an Afrikaans school or any language school, the Bela bill gives the department the power to say, also teach in this language. Don't cancel the language you're teaching in, but also teach in this language too. And then there's just a bunch of wild nonsense, pure fake news that has been spread around about the bill that we should just deal with. The first one is that somehow people have been led to believe that the Bela bill is going to give teachers and schools the power and authority to intervene in learners' pregnancies and even make them get abortions. Newsflash, that is absolutely not true. Secondly, there's this nonsense that the Bela bill will strip all power from school governing bodies and centralize it with the Department of Basic Education. That's absolutely not true. The truth is that SGBs will maintain authority over language and admissions policies subject to the head of department approval, aligned with the Constitution, which is a non-arbitrary process. It's essentially, are you following the Constitution or not? Because that's the bare minimum requirement of an SGB. Next misinformation is that the government will now be able to control the curriculum within schools. The actual truth is that the curriculum is regulated by the National Curriculum and Policy Statement, CAPS, and any changes to the national curriculum would have to be done through an amendment to CAPS, which has got nothing to do with the Bela bill. There's this fiction that comprehensive sexuality education will be introduced into school curriculums and taught to students from a young age. But the truth is that CSE is not included in the Bela bill, and the bill contains no provisions or relevance to it. And finally, there's this belief that the Bela bill will take away parents' right to control their child's education and enforce curriculum on parents who opt to homeschool their children, which is not true. What the Bela bill is doing is bringing regulation to the homeschooling sector, that has largely been unregulated up until this point. The Bela bill is just going to make sure that homeschooled kids are getting appropriate and effective education, because If you've met some homeschooled kids, some of them have been taught some fruity nonsense by parents who frankly are not good teachers and don't have a brilliant grip on reality. And so the Bela bill just is going to make sure that even those kids are getting their rights to a decent, appropriate basic education satisfied and provided even as they're being homeschooled. So now you know.
What happens to the Bela bill now? Is it something that you're going to put on the agenda of the national dialogue?
Well, the Bela bill is a non-negotiable for us. The right of school governing bodies to determine the language policy of a school is a red line for us, and the ANC's been aware of that from day one.
Yes, and hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Now shout out to News 24 for making it simple for us. I know a lot of people were quite confused, I was as well, as to what is this Bela bill, why is the DA opposing? Why are they saying that it's a red line for them? If, the Ramaphosa signs it, then, that's it, it's chai. And it's going to be very interesting to see now, Nguti, is it really going to be chai? Obviously in terms of the GNU, because Ramaphosa has broken their contracts, whatever. So it's really going to be interesting. Are they really going to be like Fosege GNU, or they've tasted the power and there's no way they're going to leave the GNU government? That's going to be really interesting to see. Now shout out to News 24 for making it simple for us. I've been checking for a simple explanation. We can't be reading 100 pages just to understand the bill. So shout out to News 24 and Dan for making it simple for us. I think out of all of this, for now, what is really interesting is that mission of undocumented learners. Now, this, of course, doesn't only mean immigrants. It also means South Africans that sadly had their identity, the mother maybe had her identity stolen, therefore the child couldn't get a birth certificate, and the schools are refusing to admit that child. I am pro that, just because your identity got stolen by fraudsters and criminals, it doesn't necessarily mean that you must now suffer the consequences. Your child can't even get their matric certificates because of that, so I'm pro that. But it's also concerning now because already we have, for example, 50 students in one class and utisha uyedwa, and already they are struggling. Sometimes the reason why public schools don't do so well when it comes to academics is not because kids they are dumb and what they come from what background. No, having 60 students, 50, 40, 30 students, obviously it's going to affect how uthisha efundisa ngakhona. Uthi uyafundisa omunye uyahleka ngale, uthi uyafundisa omunye is snoring that side, ulele omunye umeeting ngapha, uyayibo yonke lento lena. That is definitely going to affect the department. I don't know if they thought of it that far, because I think it would have been easier if they said allow undocumented learners, but it must be a South African, having your reasons to be undocumented, either identity theft, or you don't know where your parents are, whatever the case may be. You can't produce a birth certificate. They can't get you a birth certificate at home, whatever the case may be, but it must be a South African citizen. Because now it is going to be a huge problem. Already we do have a huge number of, students that are already undocumented and they are studying. It's going to be an issue. I think they need to revisit that and re-debate it. We cannot have that. We cannot have that. And in as much as, yes, it's a good thing, shame, having a sweet South Africa, ni kind injani as but let's be realistic, it's going to affect iy'ngane zala eMzansi. And just like any other country, I don't know why the government is failing to put its people first. Put South Africans first. Because imagine uye esikoleni uthi uyobhalisa ingane yakho as a South African parent, kuthi wasekugcwele uthi uyabona labantu abagcwele iy'ngane engazona ezala. Is that fair? It's not, so sesiyakhompyutha-ke manje kumele wenze usho ukuthi okay ngibhalisa ingane early khona. It shouldn't be like that. Our government must learn to put South Africans first, even South African students first. Next thing they're gonna say, NSFAS is accessible for undocumented immigrants. Because it's not like the rule before or the law before said they shouldn't study here. The law allowed them as long as they were documented. You get it? So why now are they even going as further as saying, no, Chomi, even if you're undocumented, come study. You get it? Just get your documents straight and take your child to school. I don't know. I feel like South African government is so not in touch when it comes to immigration. They are so not in touch with a reality. This is gonna be a huge fuck up. Okay, because Sholulebo, it's gonna be a big fuck up.
She has done nothing in life but fuck up. Latoya fucks up. Latoya is fucked up.
Hopefully they revisit that though. They debate it. They rectify things that needs to be rectified. And yeah, like I said, it's going to be really interesting to see if Helen Zille is really going to be like, F you, GNU, we are out. Or it was just a threat, to try and show them who's boss, to try and test the waters. Which, okay, if we say do not do this, and they don't do it, it means we really have the power that we think we have. So Cyril Ramaphosa actually going against Helen Zille, that is quite interesting. But his reputation was also on the line because he had said that he was going to sign the bill. And then after Helen was like, don't sign the bill. If you sign, we leave. Now, it was either, he was like, okay, boss, or stand on a business. But hopefully, whatever grievances that the DA has, they address it in Parliament and... they raise them publicly as well. Not to go to, but don't sign because, you are fucking it up already. The basic education, what is fucked. No, give people reasons. What are you saying exactly? Because with Helen Zille party, the DA, what I've heard, what I've seen so far is the languages and school governing bodies having more power and more say. Now, with ukshaya kwengane esikoleni, already it's fucked up, guys. Like, we see videos online circulating of kids beating. Our schools are now American schools, beating their teachers, swearing at their teachers. Baphethe amafone emaklasini. Akusafani nakuqala where students or kids were afraid of their teachers. Mawulizwa nje iqhoksi liqhamuka downstairs, kuthuleke kuthiwe cwaka. Kids are no longer disciplined anymore, and imagine now it's gonna be even worse. But nje even ngathiwa uthi uyayithethisa ke ingane ke manje nake sekuyinkinga kumele uyithethise ingane kumele ukhulume nayo kahle. How is that gonna help students? These two kids are already fucked up. It's not gonna help them. It's gonna make things worse. Now teachers are even gonna be afraid of izingane. You get it? Because sebesaba nokulahlekelwa umsebenzi abasakwazi ngisho uyithethisa izingane. So I don't know, mina guys. Anyway, do let me know, guys, what you think at the comment section down below. Have you read the bill? What's your take in all of this? Because obviously as parents it does affect our kids. Do let me know at the comment section down below.